road that goes into the Selway Bitterroot wilderness. So that allows us to get kind of farther up the Selway River, and we're gonna hike a little bit of that today. What's really cool about where I'm at is, compared to yesterday when I was on top of the mountains, this area is a completely different ecological province. Yesterday, on the top of the mountains, it was very dry and the landscape was dominated by lodgepole pine and some subalpine fir. But here, as you can see, it looks much wetter. I've made it on top of this gigantic boulder in the middle of the Selway, and it gives me a great view of the river, both upstream and downstream. I think this is as far as we'll walk today on the river, and man, there have been so many amazing rivers out here. There's one thing I can say about the Magruder Corridor is that you get to see some of the most pristine rivers out there. I'm gonna head back to my car now and finish the Magruder Corridor. I have about a third of the distance to go, but this section of the road should be much easier than its no services stretch is just as long as any portion on Highway 50 through Nevada. The other thing is Highway 50 through Nevada is just that. It's a highway. It's paved. There are still a decent amount of cars out there. The stops along the way are real cities with hotels and gas stations and all of that. Whereas the Magruder Corridor, it's not a highway at all. It's just a dirt road. And to anyone that says, well, you could just claim that any old dirt road is the loneliest road, I would say the Magruder is different. It's not just any dirt road. It is still a route, a pathway through a large remote area. And it's the only pathway through those places unless you go a long ways around. So I would say it's different than, I don't know, a average Forest Service road or anything like that. It still is a corridor, and people do use it to travel between the Selway Bitterroot and the Frank Church, usually for recreation, but in the past it was the real thing I want to point out here is that there are still a lot of really beautiful untouched places in America where you can drive and really get out there, even if you're on a main highway or if you're on a dirt road like this. I've made it back to pavement. I'm just a couple miles from Nez Perce Pass, and I can't tell you how good it feels to finally be on pavement again after 3 days of dirt roads. Ugh, it feels so smooth. It's awesome. Okay, I've made it to Nez Perce Pass. Evening thunderstorms are here. We got some great signs here talking about the history. The reason it's called Nez Perce Pass is because we're this way, kind of under this text here. We actually did go to Red River Hot Springs. So we drove back through here, started on the Magruder Corridor, went up this way, and eventually got in between both the large wilderness areas. Saw the lookouts. We camped last night here, and then I was just up here this morning. This is where the Selway River runs, and so that's where my parents are camping tonight. And then I have just driven this last little bit to Nez Perce Pass. And then now all I have to do is drive down this way to the highway, and I will be back in civilization. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Apologies if this video isn't everything that you hoped for. This was a really big trip and there was just so many things to talk about that it was a little overwhelming, so I did my best.